TGV is known for featuring heroes from all walks of life. And today we are presenting another hero, Hemalatha Rao. In today's episode, we will uncover the story of unbreakable resilience, triumphing over adversity and building a successful career. This episode can explore the inspiring journey of the women leader, delving into her experiences of overcoming health challenges, pursuing education, establishing her own company, and thriving in her career despite various setbacks. And this episode will serve as a source of inspiration and motivation for those who may be facing their own challenges, emphasizing the importance of resilience and a positive mindset in achieving personal and professional success. Before we begin our conversation with Hemalatha Rao, here is a surprise element in the form of a first rapid fire round. Hemalatha, I'm going to formally introduce you to the show, but before that, let us begin a small rapid fire round. I'm going to randomly mention a few words, and whatever thing that comes to your mind first, without thinking much, you can share them in the form of a word or a sentence. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's get started.
I like challenges.
Okay, super. Here comes the first question. Curious.
Yeah. Cat.
Invention.
Myself. Reinventing myself. Yeah.
Super. Future.
Wonderful. Bright.
Book.
A good stress buster.
Movie.
Movie. Enjoyment. Fun.
Food.
Food. My life.
Place.
Place. Seaside. And place is home.
Okay.
Home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And then name.
Hema.
Animal.
Lion.
Last one is the world.
It's a beautiful place being, misled, I feel.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that was fantastic first rapid fire round, and thank you for actively participating in it. And folks, you have tuned into the Guiding Voice podcast series, The Guiding Voice for a Better Future. I'm your host, Naveen Samala, a fellow professional and a passionate learner on a mission to make the world a beautiful place to live. Through The Guiding Voice, we drive conversations that matter and conversations that add value to your life and to your career. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Hemalatha, hearty welcome to The Guiding Voice, and thank you so much for being part of the journey. And before we get into our conversation, I would like to thank Kavita Garla once again for introducing us. And it's been wonderful talking to you, and I'm super excited to have you as a guest on The Guiding Voice.
Thank you so much, Naveen, for inviting me. I should thank Kavita as well. She's been a very good friend of mine and an excellent human being. I'm honored. I'm honored to be on your shows. I've watched your podcast, and my God, you've done an excellent job, great job. And so many different people, vibrant, amazing people. Yeah.
Thank you. It's all my own effort of making this world a beautiful place by featuring unsung heroes like you. And
congratulations to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's get started. So maybe you can take us through your journey of overcoming multiple health challenges and how they impacted your outlook on life and career.
Well, to be very frank, I had a very good childhood. But at the age of 3, I was diagnosed with a cardiac condition, which is called PDA. It's called patent ductus arteriosus, which in a common man's term, it is a hole in the heart. So I was operated for that at the age of 3. And after that, my milestones were quite normal as a child during my school and everything. But when I reached my 8th or 9th grade, I started feeling breathless, and I couldn't, cycle uphill. And I used to faint when I used to cycle uphill or climb the stairs. So that's when we went back to my cardiologist. That was Dr. K.N. Cherry at that time. So when we went to them, they again did all the tests, and they diagnosed that I had something called pulmonary hypertension, which is a devastating disease actually.
Oh my God.
And it's not very common. It's pretty rare. Not many are aware of it. That actually affects the, what happens is the pressure builds up in the lungs. Usually the normal blood pressure for a human being is, as you know, it is 120/80. But there's a separate pressure only in the lungs, which is about between 25 to 35 mm of Hg. But for me, it was equal to my blood pressure. It was almost 110 mg. So it was 4 times the pressure. So what happens is when there's so much of pressure in the lungs, it directly affects the heart functioning. So slowly my heart started, bulging, and it got dilated, and slowly it started getting weak. But I was managed with medication and somehow managed everything. Managed to do my schooling and graduation. I did my PhD. And after that, it was pretty difficult, going to college and all, climbing. If the classes were on the second or third floor, I couldn't manage it. So most of the times I would miss the first, first classes, beginning classes, because the moment I used to climb up, I used to go blue, and there was not enough oxygen supply to my brain, so I used to faint and all those things. And somehow I managed all those things, and luckily I passed all the classes and graduated. And after that, I started looking for a job. I did my master's diploma in software engineering from Aptech, and through that, I got a job at SONY India Software Center as an software engineer, assistant software engineer. And I worked there for almost 2 years. It was in ITPL, that time. I am talking about 98, 99, so beginning of software industry in Bangalore. Yeah. So I had to travel 30 kilometers that time. I used to stay in Basangudi, heart of Bangalore. So almost 30 kilometers by bus, and I guess all those. But I enjoyed my work. It was pretty challenging, the beginning of software, and had a very good time. But maybe because of that sedentary life for 2 years, I got another problem called pulmonary embolism, where a lot of blood starts tend to clot in your lungs. And so my breathlessness went to heights, and I just couldn't breathe absolutely one fine day. So when I was admitted, the doctor said I have to be on oxygen throughout my life, and I cannot pursue my career any further. It was difficult for me to even walk within the house. So I was hooked on to oxygen almost 24 hours, and even eating, everything was a problem, because any extra stress like eating or walking would cause a lot of stress on my heart, and that would pump less and I would go blue. All this were happening. But then I didn't give up. I slowly started my yoga and, other acupressure, and those things really helped me. And slowly I came back to my normal self. Like I was able to, step by step, I could gain my strength back. I had a proper diet, followed a, low carb and all those. I followed a proper diet, and slowly I came back to almost a normal condition. Then I started my own placement company called Horizon Placements. That was in around 2000, 2001-ish time. And that was a real, eye opener for me as to what kind of a person I'll fit in the industry and all those things. But it was pretty challenging, because during those times the demand was high and supply was less. And whichever candidate, I somehow, I'll get to that later. So I did that for almost 6 years. But even then, I was doing the first level interviews for the candidates on my own. I used to give them written tests and, take the interviews. So for that, I was working from home setup, and I had my interview room on the second floor. So going up every time, giving them papers, getting them to write things, and then coming back was quite a stress. But I didn't give up. I just don't give up. So I just went on. And after that, the most beautiful thing happened in my life, that I got married to my husband, Kirti Vasan. And he was actually our family friend for quite some time. And actually, my mom had given him responsibility to look for a guy for me. So
So he took the responsibility seriously.
Yeah, exactly. My mom asked, "Why don't we ask Kirti itself? Is it okay for you?" I said, "If you are fine with him, I'm okay with him, because I know you him for almost 8 years before my wedding. A very good family friend. He knew about my health conditions. And one more thing was, the doctors had told me I could not conceive. I could not have babies. So then my mom one fine day, she directly called him in the office, and she said, "Why don't you yourself marry my daughter?" So he was taken aback. He was sitting in the office. He said, "Auntie, just give me some time. I'll think over it and get back to you." Then he called back and said, just for the formality's sake, we see these horoscopes and all, just to, settle with his parents, just to get their approval. He just took and he himself matched it, and he said it matches well and all. And then he just informed his parents, saying that he's getting married to me. He didn't even ask their approval, and he didn't even talk that I cannot conceive, because he said, there's always a generation gap. He said we'll take care of it when we come to that stage. So and with no bargains, with nothing, he married me, and till today it's been 20 years. Today, this year, it's going to be the 20th. And he has remained true to what he has told. Wow. And till today, we'll know about him in the future conversations. Absolutely. So that happened. This is great. Yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah. Oh. So after that, we had to travel to UK on his job, and mainly to check if I had any other options, because for this one we have tension. The final stage is transplant. It has to be either single lung transplant or double lungs and heart. So that is the only cure for this problem. So we thought there might be, advanced medical things for this in the UK. So we traveled to UK, and we were there for about 1.5 years, and came back. And after that, I started getting another problem called peripheral neuropathy, which is an autoimmune disease. This is where our own body starts fighting our own system. So it started affecting my nerves. So all my peripheral nerves, that is, nerves, the nerves which gives us sensation and basic motor, like, joint functioning and other things, those started getting affected. And the only medicines for that was steroids. They started giving me steroids and immunosuppressants. Because of that, my immunity reduced. And because of the steroids, it started affecting my heart very much. I started putting on weight, and there was fluid retention in my lungs. And I was absolutely not able to breathe. And it was too much of a problem. And I was not able to manage two diseases at the same time. So then we approached the doctors, and they said, for this only the transplant is the only cure. So why don't you think about it? Then we went through the pros and cons. I didn't go through the cons because I go only with the pros. So the cons was taken care of by my family, not me. So we just spoke about it, and for that I have to be eligible for a transplant. We go through an evaluation process where the doctors check the entire health condition, and only if we are eligible for the transplant process, I can undergo the transplant. Yeah. So I went through the evaluation process in 2017 the first time, but that time I was fit enough. So they said, no, we have to postpone it a bit further, because transplant comes with its own minuses. So because after transplant, your life, expectancy comes down because of the so many challenges. Like we are on total immunosuppressants, and that reduces we take so many medicines that it might start affecting the other organs. So we had these things to take care of. But by 2019, it had deteriorated quite further, because when I did my 6-minute walk test, I knew that I could not walk too much, and my oxygen requirement went up to 13 liters per minute. So, and moreover, I had to be on oxygen whenever I was stressed. So I had 2 oxygen machines at home, and one, a portable oxygen concentrator. And when we were traveling also, we used to take those concentrator everywhere. So this was the thing. So then finally we said, okay, let's go for the transplant. And we went ahead with the transplant in 2021, Feb 2nd. I completed 2 years of it. It's been a great life till now.
No, kudos to your positivity and the resilience that you have demonstrated is unparalleled. Like nobody can match it, and the special kudos to your husband as well because it requires a lot of patience. And most
And my
importantly,
mom.
as your home. Most
Yeah.
importantly, their backing and their support would have really helped you a lot. So on that note, other than this family system, right? What are the top three things that have contributed to your success so far?
Top three things is attitude. Attitude, I just want to elaborate a bit.
Yeah.
It's not about positive attitude. It's about, avoiding the negative. We tend to speak a lot about being positive and all those things, but we just cannot avoid negative thoughts. We are bombarded with almost 100 negative thoughts if we have to come up with a positive thought. So it's like avoiding it and stopping it before it gets into your core. So that's what I call attitude and resilience. Yes, as you said, holding on to that and don't give up thing. I never give up. I always believe that there's a solution for everything. Those three things. And the three main above all these things is divine grace, family support, and amazing doctors team behind me.
Yeah.
So these three things, yeah.
Superb, and I loved every bit of it. And I think you're someone who is great at inspiration. And I think people worry about tiny things, and they get bogged down by small problems. But despite of having severe health conditions, you have battled them, and you are standing tall here in front of us, and that gives me a lot of motivation. And I'm sure it is going to motivate all the watchers and listeners of this episode, all the audience. So
I'm just 5 foot tall, by the way.
Yeah, and you said after you have pursued your education, you joined SONY India Software Center, right? So what motivated you to join that first job despite your health conditions, and what was running on your mind at that time?
My mother has been a single mother. I lost my dad at the age of 14. So she has worked really hard and put in so much of effort to get me educated. So I felt it was my duty, give back to her. Of course, you can't settle mother's love, but in my own ways. And moreover, if I had to fight over my physical problems, I have to be strong mentally. It's always you're made up with what your mental, strength is. So I just wanted to go for a job, not only to earn money. I love being with people and to get basically be away from the thought that I'm unwell. So that was the one thing. And secondly, those days software enticing. Of course, even today it is, but it was new, and I was quite happy that I was able to get the job.
Great.
And it was a challenge for me because traveling so far, because I did my entire schooling within 2 kilometers of my house.
Yeah.
So traveling 30 kilometers alone was quite challenging, and maybe that pulled me to accepting it.
And how was Bangalore traffic then? Like,
it was divine. Don't tell me what was traffic by then. I will ask you because those 30 kilometers from Whitefield, we would travel in about 30 minutes. That's all.
Oh, super.
30 minutes in the morning, 7:30, morning 7:30, 30 minutes. And the evening around, we used to start at 6 o'clock. 6:45, we used to be at home.
Yeah.
So just imagine.
Yeah. So that's a boon if at all it happens these days. But unfortunately, things have changed. And for those of you who are not aware of Bangalore traffic, Bangalore is notorious for slow moving traffic. And, at times it takes at least an hour even to pass about 2 to 3 kilometers. So that's how notorious Bangalore traffic is. So for the global listeners and the global audience, in case if you haven't been to Bangalore, try once to witness the horrors of traffic.
You will reach your work. Yeah, you will reach. Cut you down. You reach your workplace better by walk than by getting into the traffic.
True. Okay, so let's move ahead. And you mentioned about your placement company as well, and it was on the second
Yeah.
floor of your house, and it took it was challenging for you, right, to
Yeah.
take the stairs, and then still you still worked hard. And how did you navigate the challenges? And during those 6 years, are there any lessons that you have learned?
Oh, definitely, a lot of them. I understood that I shouldn't stretch beyond my limits. So whatever I was doing it within my limits. I knew what was my strengths and weaknesses. So I started working on my strengths and making the most of it. I'm good at talking. I'm good at interacting with people, and I used to devote my time for that more than on climbing upstairs and all those stuff. So I started shifting my main office to the ground floor, and I shifted only the tests to the first floor, and that used to be quite rare. I wouldn't take everyone unless they are through with my first level of interview. And secondly, I was not taking too many companies on my list. I was catering to about 6 to 7 of them at one point, and so it was quite easy. So those not many challenges as such.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
And you briefly touched upon your UK trip, like for a short time,
Yeah.
right? So, how did that experience shape your perspective and contribute to your personal and professional growth?
Professionally, I had to close my company and move there because I could not work from there. So I used that time to just gain skills, extra skills, and gain my broaden my knowledge. But apart from that, I got to learn the local culture and how to deal with people from other countries, and what is their level of thinking, and how can we match, and what are positives we can take from them. Many things, we can take their discipline, cleanliness, all those things, and we can maintain our own culture, or we have so many things, our own nature, but take the most positive things from them. So learned a lot, and basically I got a lot of confidence in myself because I used to travel all myself, because my husband used to go to office, and I would take the tube, I would take the buses, and I would just go ahead and explore places with whatever limitations. If I couldn't walk, I would say, it's quite convenient there to sit in places. So wherever I couldn't walk, I would sit down, and wherever I heard people talking Indian language, especially Kannada, I would just jump onto them and I start talking to them, introduce myself to them, and I made so many friends there and still in touch with them. So that way I earned almost 10 to 15 of them, more than that actually. And apart from that, we had a lot of Indian friends in our apartment. So that was really a stress busting period for some time. But then again, we had our own challenges because my husband took a back seat there because of the cold weather. He was affected by TB. And there the hospitals are so crowded, and it's free hospitalization, right? NHS. Because of that, his diagnosis was delayed. And as it was delayed, he was paralyzed below chest.
Oh my God.
He was like literally on the bed, and a machine used to come lift him up, and we just didn't know what the problem was because there was no doctor to look at him. And then after a lot of fighting and all those things, then the local doctor, who came to treat his next bed, saw him and said, "There's something wrong with this guy." And then they started treating him, and he was fine in 15 days. But those 15 days was real horror for me because, of course, I had called my mom there, but she couldn't handle because that was a new place. And we were staying on the second floor, but basically it was the third floor. And what happened was the lift used to often break down. And you know how it is there. It's not like if you want some grocery, you just run across the road and get it. No, it's like we have to go to Tesco or any other shop mart and then get it, and we have to get everything in bulk.
Yeah.
So I had to carry about almost 5 to 10 kgs of stuff, and with all my breathing problem, and I used to do that. I don't know where I got the strength, that fighting, that was pure divine grace, I can tell you. That strength. We were in such bad condition that my husband couldn't come out of the hospital, and every day was like, will he come back to me, or will he be able to speak to me? And one fine day I spoke to him, I couldn't understand what he was saying. Then I thought, God, that was the day I ran to the hospital. I saw that he was bloated up. His face had become this big, and his, in fact, expects had uh, dilated like this, and all those things. Then we found out that he got allergic to some medicine, and that had affected him, and all those things. But then finally that settled down a bit, and for almost 15 days, I had to take care. Me and mom used to go every day to the hospital, but they would not let us inside. We were let there for only half an hour. So we would sit on the pavement and just pray, know what his condition, but when I spoke to the Indian doctors, they said it is TB, because that weather usually causes TB in Indians because of the cold weather and low sunlight. So that's what I tell the Indians in UK, please take as much sunlight as you can when you're there, and take a lot of vitamin D supplements, because that can, without sunlight, you can get TB. So that was the thing. So 15 days, we didn't know what was happening. They could not diagnose it, because for them, TB means pulmonary TB. That is just TB. And for him, it was spine. It affected his spine. So then 15 days, somehow we managed. I managed to get all those grocery and all done, and my friends helped me, of course. And then finally, he was diagnosed. He was started on the medicines. Then he was discharged back, and that was second life for me, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that, so UK actually taught me a lot of guts and courage to, talk to people and fight where it is necessary and get things done.
Yeah.
So I guess after coming back, I was affected by these nerve condition, and I think that was a post-traumatic disorder, I feel. I was under so much of stress there, I couldn't show it out. I had to keep everything inside. So after coming back to India, it affected this way as an autoimmune condition. But it's okay. It's all in the game.
I know every phase you have undergone itself is a challenge, and still you are smiling, and that speaks volumes about your.
We always have a choice. We always have a choice, Naveen. We are given two roads. Keep smiling and go ahead, or you keep crying but still you go ahead. It's not that you won't go ahead. So it's easier to take this route.
Yeah. Makes sense, and I think everybody has to make a note of that. And with that, let me move to the next question. Again, you have undergone heart and lung transplantation, so which is a significant one. So can you share your thought process around that time and emotions surrounding that decision, and how it has impacted your life?
Taking a decision was quite difficult. But this is how we saw it, because all the three of us, like me, my mom, and my husband, all the three of us were suffering because of my problems. I had two diseases to deal with. So I was on a double-edged sword. If I treat my nerve condition, it was affecting my heart. If I treat my heart, then it was affecting my nerves. So it was like I couldn't cope up with both of them. So we had to decide. So I said I would get rid of one problem and then deal with the other one slowly. So I don't mind that. Then we spoke to the doctors. Then, usually after the evaluation, when the transplant is confirmed, what happens is they call you for a counseling session. And they tell us how it will be done and what is the process and all those things. And then they come to the negatives, like what can be the negatives of the, when they started talking about it, I said, I'm disconnecting. I don't even want to think or listen to the negatives. See, our body is such that it will act like what our mind says. You keep talking negative, you keep thinking negative, each and every cell of yours will drive in that direction. Okay. The more positive, the more good feedback you give to your mind and your mind, that will give a good feedback to your own system. So all your organs will start working well. That is what I always believe in. And when the doctor said these are, I said, never mind. Let them. I just zoomed out of that session. Like I just went blank because that was not for me to hear. One thing I knew: if it is successful, I'll be here. If it is not successful, I'll be in a better place because I'll be rid of all these problems. So that was the main thing. And I definitely knew that if it was a successful transplant, I won't sit back. I will make the most of it, and it is going to be a wonderful life ahead.
Yeah.
So that was the main thing, main mind which I went through the transplant with.
That's awesome. And throughout your journey, you have encountered and overcome various obstacles, including battling this COVID-19 twice. So how all had these experiences shape your resilience and mindset? I know you have become more strong.
To inform you, I was affected with COVID twice. One before transplant and one after transplant, in the first and the third wave. So before that, one thing I would like to tell you is, while getting wheeled into the transplant theater, the doctors told me, "Don't worry." I said, "You people don't worry. I am fine with with my conditions. I am happy to go in." And so what happened was the transplant got delayed because of COVID. I had to wait for almost 1.5 years. Then we had to shift to Chennai because my transplant was done in Apollo Hospital, Chennai. So we shifted to Chennai, and we shifted in August 2019, and 2020 March, everything closed down because of COVID. And unfortunately for transplant, and fortunately for others, we need brain dead people who have undergone accidents, but who are medically alive, but brain dead. That means their heart, it's of no use. They cannot function any further. So for those things, accidents had to take place, and because of shutdown, lockdown, there were no traffic, so there was no accidents, and so getting organs had become very difficult. So we had to wait for almost 1.5 years, and so that was one thing. And secondly, what happened was, because of COVID, I can tell you it was an advantage to the transplant people, because COVID had certain protocols for people, right? Keeping a distance, wearing a mask, building up the hygiene. These are the exact protocols which we have to follow after transplant. We have to wear mask everywhere, keeping distance from people, avoiding infections. So by the time I came out of the transplant, the entire world had got a lesson of how to be aware and stay healthy. So that was a kind of an advantage for me. And I guess COVID taught the whole world a lesson, not only me. It was a leveler. And it taught me rather humility and all those things. And I guess it taught everybody the same thing. And people had got used to, oximeters, the terms called oximeters, oxygen mask and all those things. So it was okay, but it was getting difficult for us people because we were not getting cylinders. We were not getting, oxygen supplies and all those things. But yes, we just fared through pretty well.
Cool. Again, everything is a chapter in its own. I think. I think you can actually sign up for a movie, because there is a lot to offer from your side. Okay.
And during the
so as I said earlier, I think you need to sign up for a movie. There is no better story than this. Okay, I think there is a lot to learn for everybody. Okay, and Hemlatha, I'm loving every bit of this conversation. So I'm also curious to understand if you are involved in any other activities apart from your work and daily activities. Like, are you contributing to anything else?
I also would like to mention, after surgery, within 8 months, I got another job as a technical writer at Abile Solutions in Bangalore. So it was a work from home.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really thankful to my company for giving me the opportunity, considering all my constraints. So I would like to thank him. And currently, I'm working as a freelance technical writer come analyst. So for two companies, one is Abil and one is Abi Technologies. Again, another company where we are starting new portals. And the thing is, apart from these things, I try to contact many people and talk about organ donation awareness. And apart from that, I'm involved in two support groups. One is a support group for pulmonary hypertension. One is the support group for heart and lung transplant patients, like post and pre, those who are waiting for it. And we do go motivate my husband and me. We go and in person and motivate them and talk to them about the problems of advantages and disadvantages. We counsel them regarding the surgery and all those things. And this pulmonary hypertension in India is a well-established group where there are almost 200 patients. Actually, we create awareness about this pulmonary hypertension throughout India. We have pan India also, and we have some patients from abroad in our organization. And we regularly hold programs and we give presentations, and also I volunteer for all those things. Oh, my video is gone off. Yeah. So I volunteer for all those things in my pastime, but I try to keep myself very busy, because my nerve issues are quite bothering. Because as you can see, I have some. It's not easy for me to speak, and I don't have sensation in almost 70% of my body. So I don't know where I'm sitting, where my hands are, where my face is. I tend to lose the food in my mouth because I don't have sensation, and I keep biting my tongue. So there are a lot of difficult disadvantages of that, but I don't bother. I believe that as I had told in the earlier interviews, Hema is the soul inside me, not the body. So I care a damn to whatever happens to this. I will live till I have to live. So let me not bother about anything. My motto is to inspire till I expire.
Superb. I don't have any words to say here. I'm totally inspired and looking forward to many more interactions with you. And definitely, I think I'm going to feature your story in the upcoming PGV Inspiring Lives future volumes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right. So this has been inspirational conversation, but this has been inspirational conversation, and it's time for us to add some spice to the episode. I'm going to kick off a quick rapid fire round, second one, and all you have to do is answer the interesting questions crisply. Okay. So if you're ready, let's get started. Here comes my first bullet. If you could have a superpower in general, what would it be?
Knowledge, skill. Knowledge will help you deal with everything.
Absolutely. And what is the funniest or weirdest experience you have ever had in your life?
Funniest was, that will take more than one sentence. Is it okay?
And that's fine.
Yeah. So I was telling you, like, my mother was looking for a groom for me and all those things. That time, I had almost finalized with the guy, but when I told him that I had this problem and he refused me. And he was, the coincidence was he was working in the same company as my husband, my future husband, that time. And so after talking to that guy, within about 3 months, our marriage was settled. And I called him, he called me to say that even his marriage got settled. I tend to get very friendly with these people. So he called me up and told my marriage is settled, even my marriage is settled. So, and when he had come to see me, I asked about Kirti Vasan. He said, yeah, I know him. He's a good friend of mine. Then he said, oh, he was quite surprised. He said, yeah, your marriage is settled. Good. Who is your guy? I said, Kirti Vasan.
Good one. And can you describe yourself in just one word?
Deed, stubborn. I don't give up.
I can see that. And if you
Yeah.
could add a funny or unconventional rule to the workplace, what would it be?
Yeah. Unconventional rule would be, keep one leg massaging machine at each portal, at each point. Because these days, people, though, they don't move out of their place and sit in front of the system all the time, whether it is at home or in office, which has become very unhealthy, as you see. So better you keep one, at least if your cognizance are, exercised a bit, or at least some, thorns or something, every half an hour, they should be alerted that you better get up and walk. I would add that.
Need of the hour and good one.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is the most hilarious comment you have ever received or given to someone?
Comment I can't say, but when I don't know. When people used to ask me, what is your problem? I said, I have some problem with my plumbing and now there is a problem with my electricity. So I didn't want to explain in detail what was wrong with me. Apart from that, plenty of hilarious things. I can't think of it currently right now.
Got it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There are many things in life. So
okay.
Currently, I'm not able to.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, here comes the last one for rapid fire. What would be an electronic gadget that you'd like to see or invent yourself, Hema?
I would like to invent a gadget which, absorbs all the radiation coming from all our electronic devices before it reaches us. Absorb everything. I don't know if there is one already. The only thing I can think of is jammer, but that will jam even the, services. So not that one device which can absorb all the radiation before it reaches people. Not only people, the environment.
Nice. Yeah. That also is an important thing. Okay. It's a must have. Okay. If at all you want to conserve Earth for another few thousands or lakhs of years. Good one. And that was a great rapid fire. Let's flip back to the mainstream.
It's not about conserving Earth, conserving ourselves, because it is about, surviving, conserving our own future generations.
Yeah. Indeed.
So we have
to yeah. So let's flip back to the mainstream. And what advice would you give to individuals facing their own adversities and setbacks? And how can they cultivate resilience and maintain a positive outlook?
Yeah. Three things I would tell is, first thing is, three main things. If they come across a hurdle, or if they feel they are cornered in life, that's not the end. What do you do when you reach a corner? You just sit there, relax, and think it over, and take a U-turn. Come back with a bang in life. Life can be challenging sometimes, but that's not the reason to give up.
Yeah.
Secondly, respect your body and mind, and respect yourself. Because if you respect yourself, you will respect your creator. God has created you for a purpose. So don't just allow your life to go waste, and stop sympathizing yourself. No sympathies. Yeah, when you feel bad, cry for a while, just take it out for some time, but don't keep dwelling into it. Come out of it. All of us need time to just let go of things, or burst out and remove it, and then just jump into the mainstream, thinking that there's nothing to stop you over. You are the master of your own world. So have a strong mind. Don't give up. Be fearless. Don't ever fear anything. That is that is the secret of facing the life. Right?
Yeah. I'm supercharged, and thank you so much. With that, let me ask you the last question. Again, it's more like a feedback. How is it being hosted on the Guiding Voice platform? How has been your experience?
Amazing. It was like the experience I had in Goa. I went parasailing after the surgery, and it was a different high. So that way it was quite exciting, quite a smooth flow, and lovely. It was wonderful talking to you. never felt the pressure.
Yeah. And I felt pressure by looking at your positivity. I think now it is
Yeah.
going to impact all of us who have tuned into this episode positively. So thank you so much for spreading such a positive message. And thank you for everything that you have shared in today's conversation so openly and candidly. Thanks for your time and all the insights. Really appreciate you joining us. And I would like to thank Kavita once again for presenting such a wonderful, wonderful speaker.
Thank you so much, Naveen. And today being the occasion for Doctors' Day, I thank all my life givers, the best day of life, and may they continue to do their amazing work and save the world.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. And you please continue to do this lifelong and bring all the positive stories to the world. It really needs it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, pleasure to host you. Thank you so much once again, Hemalatha. And
thank you so much.
Yeah. So, friends, that was our episode with Hemalatha Rao. And I'm sure all of you got super inspired by the conversation. And before we move into the trivia section, here's a request to you. In case if you haven't subscribed to us, please subscribe from wherever you have tuned in from. Also, if you have loved the episode and found the conversation useful, request you to share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who can benefit from the guiding voice. Thank you so much in advance. Now, let's hop into the trivia segment. So today we had wonderful conversation and also Hema's personal experience of organ transplantation. And organ transplantation is not that easy, and there are numerous challenges associated with that. So I would like to share a few facts around organ transplantation. Here comes the first one. More than 139,000 organ transplants have been performed worldwide in 2019 alone, and the count is growing. And as of 2021, there are over 112,000 people waiting for organ transplants in the United States itself. In the United States, a single organ donor can save up to 8 lives by donating organs like the heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, pancreas, and also intestines. And if you take a look at the history, the first successful human kidney transplant took place in 1954, and which was performed by Dr. Joseph Murray and his team at the Brigham Hospital in Boston. And according to the World Health Organization, 90% of organ transplants are performed worldwide are kidney transplants. So on this note, I would like to urge each of the viewers and audience to sign up as an organ donor, because we can choose to live even after our death by donating our organs. So that's all for today, folks, and thank you so much for tuning in. And do not forget to share your topic recommendations and also guest speaker suggestions either through social media, or you can email me at theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. I'm your host Naveen Samala, a fellow IT professional, and a passionate learner on a mission to make the world a better place to live through the conversations that matter and conversations that add value to your life and to your career. Until next time, bye-bye. See you all in the next episode with another inspiring personality. Take care.